What's up, everyone? This is the first episode of the Keep Going podcast. I'm your host, Zach Davis, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. I'll be dropping episodes weekly with bonus episodes sprinkled throughout. I'm excited to start this journey with you all and see how the show grows and improves. So today, my first guest is Mr. Shakir Mckillip. He is a pro MMA fighter, a striking coach, a realtor here in Oklahoma, and much more. I'm excited to share the conversation, and I think you all will enjoy it as well. As always, thank you for listening, and tune in for bonus episodes and then the weekly drops. Keep going. We'll see how it goes. I wrote down like 25 people's names.
Cool.
Just to like get started.
Yeah.
With people I know and see if that makes it easier. Because this is going to be a lot easier since it's friends. Mm-hmm. And everyone will be, but I don't know. We're going to see how it goes because I've been meeting people for so long that I feel like you're this way too. And before I just get too far, let me introduce you. So Shakir Mckillip is so many things. Where you got real estate, you've got your business life, you've got your gym life, you're a father, and just like a downright cool dude.
Appreciate it.
And a good brother to me for over 3 years. So I really do appreciate you coming here.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I really appreciate that. But what I was getting at is I feel like you and I are our best self one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's because we're shy. We just don't like to open up to everybody. So when we do a one-on-one, you get the best version. So I've been having these conversations for 3+ years of meeting people for coffee and things. And I feel like they get all of me, but I'm not like that in groups. So I feel like it's a good way to push it, I guess.
I like that. So you're not like how you are in real life, like even on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm always authentic is what I try to be, especially when I'm recording myself and things like that on the camera or talking to clients and things like that. But I feel like the one-on-one, you just get a better side.
Oh, yeah.
And that's interesting with our relationship because it was kind of fast-paced. Mm-hmm. I met you over 3 years ago, just randomly at the jiu-jitsu gym at ATT, and then I was like, well, no, we need privates. So we started doing the kickboxing, but then it's like, oh no, we're going to hang out. And then you like to fish. And I'm like, all right, well, let's fish. And I really don't like fishing that much. But when I'm fishing with you, it's cool. Like that memory that popped up on my Snapchat. I just see me and Rachel fishing. And then I look in the background. You're like way in the back just doing your thing. I'm like, that's true. But speaking of, I did want to tell you, I know you're a professional fisher.
I'm not.
Fisherman. But they have these guide services at Texoma, and it's $150 a person, and he'll take you out on the water, you limit out, and then they fillet it all and give it to you to leave.
I'm definitely down for that.
So I wanted me, you, Rachel, and we could do like Sunny. That's 4. That's cool. He said 5 or 6 is kind of the max, but even if we just did the 4, you show up at, I think, 6:30. His name's Stan, and he has one arm. So he has a nub on one side, but you just swing the pole to him. He wraps the hook around the nub, hooks it with the bait, flings it back to you. You fish, make it, or catch it. He gets your fish, and then he rebaits it. And he's like, every 2 or 3 minutes, if you're not getting a bite, let me rebait your hook. And like, I'm down to get dirty with the fish and stuff because we hunt and we fish, and me and you have processed fish before. But man, I didn't touch anything but my pole. And I was like, this is pretty cool.
No, that sounds like a fucking vacation right there. That sounds good. I'll do that all day.
Texoma's a little over 2 hours, but
yeah,
we stayed at a casino by there, and it was only a 30-minute drive. But we got on the water at like 6:30, and we were done by 10:30.
Had your fish?
Yeah.
That's dope.
I only caught maybe 5, but my dad caught like 12. But what's funny is you actually know how to fish, so you'll probably be ripping them faster.
Bro, all you do is just feel for the bite. You got it.
I was premature on trying to set the hook or thinking I had a bite or moving my bait too much, I'm like doing too much. I'm like, where's the fish?
Where? Here it is.
Instead of just waiting.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a good vacation there. Yeah.
But I wanted to do that with you all.
I went, so I took Kennedy fishing the other day. We had some time and they're on summer break. So I was like, what do you guys want to do? Took them to breakfast with it. I was like, all right, I got about 3 hours. You guys want to go fishing? And she was like, yeah. Went fishing, but she's been begging me for a BB gun.
Really?
So a couple of years ago, I bought a BB gun like as a joke and set up all these targets in the backyard. She went nuts.
Oh, she was doing good?
Bro, smooth, killing stuff.
Super baby.
I was like, okay. And then I think I ran it over with the lawnmower. And so it was no BB gun for a while.
Was it a pump one?
Yeah.
I used to think that if you pumped it like 10 times, 20 times, it was so much more powerful or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's still the case, like up to 10 or something.
Yeah, until it's like difficult to try and make it happen.
Yeah. So she enjoys that very much. And so she let me hunt for like an hour and a half and she went around and shot turtles in the water, bro. It was crazy. Crazy. Scoping shells. Didn't kill one, just scope shells, boom, and the dog out.
How old is she now?
She's 9. She's double digits next year. I know. Crazy.
Oof.
Crazy.
Yeah, my niece is just turned 12, I believe. Or maybe 13. I think 12. One of the two.
One of the two.
But yeah, she's pretty grown. She just actually went to New York with her dad, JB. And
Nice.
it was she got to see her favorite play, and I was really happy for her.
Nice.
But she's growing up. My nephew is a senior next year, and the other one's a junior.
Crazy. It's crazy. I think about like in my kids' class,
Oh, yeah.
teaching my kids' class and now seeing them graduate high school and do stuff, or not graduate high school, but going to high school.
Yeah, like freshmen.
Crazy. Beyond me, I'm just like, man, time flies. Time literally flies. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's good you brought that up because that was something I wanted to hit. I mean, we met at the gym, but you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back a little further just so we know where you're from. But then I do want to dive into kind of your journey on the MMA and jiu-jitsu because you're not only active in it and setting examples for all of us, but from kids to grown-ups. But you're always coaching, you're always teaching and things like that. But I know it's a long story, but where'd you come from as far as starting out? I know you were born in Chicago, but what's Shaq's journey like?
Okay. Started off and to make it simple as possible from Chicago, moved to Oklahoma when I was let's say 8th grade, 9th grade.
That's a tough time too, because junior high is when I feel like figuring yourself out. That's when I met all my friends.
100%.
So you had to show up as a new kid.
Yeah, new kid from Chicago, but it was different, and I would say it was more of a learning experience for me. Being the only black person and then moving to Prague, Oklahoma, it was a eye-opening experience, but it showed me a different world. It showed me something that I wasn't used to, people that I wasn't used to. Coming from Chicago, yeah, you know your neighbors, but you don't know the person 2 houses down, 3 houses down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Where here they knew everybody.
Oh, in Oklahoma, you know everybody. We had people that knew we bought the land and was, bringing us gifts when we were moving in type stuff. You know what I mean?
Moved here with your mom?
I moved here with my mom and stepdad. And then we stayed there 8th grade. And at the beginning of my 9th grade year, the divorce happened. So we ended up moving back to Chicago.
Oh, dang.
And then my stepfather and my youngest brother and sister ended up going with him.
Okay.
So
You said your youngest? Mm-hmm. So that was...
I have... All my siblings are younger, but the 2 youngest, Sydney and Cyan.
Yeah.
We're related through him.
Which Cyan's grown now too.
And now he's grown as well, yeah.
Because even when I started, even 3 years ago, he looked younger.
So when you met Cyan, Cyan was going into his junior year.
Yeah, he was in high school.
Yeah, going
now
into.
He's like grown.
So now he is finishing up his freshman year in college.
So they split. You stayed here?
I went to Oklahoma as well. I mean, I went to Chicago as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they went somewhere else. They went to the Dominican Republic.
Dang.
The DR, yeah. They were gone. And we ended up going to Chicago for a couple years, and that's when I really started taking off in my sports. I played baseball in high school.
That was the one that you were really good at, right?
Yep. I played all sports, but baseball was my
Yeah,
go-to.
you're probably too physical for basketball.
I just didn't, I don't know, I fouled too much, but baseball was my sport. And so in my freshman year, I ended up going to a school called Mount Carmel in Chicago.
Oh,
Catholic school.
so private school, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Were they good at baseball?
They were really good at baseball. They were known for baseball and known for producing athletes. Donovan McNabb went there.
Oh, shit.
There was a couple professional baseball players, professional basketball players. They all started there.
So it was a good spot.
Mm-hmm. And went there, spent my freshman year there. My sophomore year, I transferred to another school in Chicago because of baseball, traveling. It was much more opportunity to travel and do different things there at the other school. So I went there. And then after that, we ended up moving back to Oklahoma. My parents were trying to work out the divorce.
Back to Prague, or?
No, we ended up moving to Harrow, Oklahoma. And so they were trying to work out the divorce, but my sister just wasn't on board, young and just thinking this isn't going to work out. She wasn't trying to help out either. So she ended up getting sent with my cousin to live with my cousin in Oklahoma. And just following my sister, I was like, I want to go too. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it started. And I moved to Harrow, Oklahoma, and continued my baseball through there. I also played football there and basketball there. So.
What position you play in football?
I played
like linebacker,
fullback, outside linebacker, and then my senior year I actually moved to tight end.
Tight end.
Yep, try to catch the ball off the.
Were you always that athletic? Were you like a step ahead of most folks?
I wouldn't say a step ahead. I think one thing about me is like I don't give up. I'll try to, I don't feel like I'm a step ahead. I just feel like my work ethic is harder than most.
Well, you're surprisingly like strong because you're not undersized, but I feel like you're not oversized either. Right. Like you're a smaller, strong guy, even though you're not a small guy because you're 5'11", right?
Yeah. So
you're pretty big, but you're not like stupid swole. Right. You're super strong. So I figured as a kid, it was probably crazy.
So strength, I guess, the strength has always been there. I always was strong. Mm-hmm. Doing different things, arm wrestling and playing with cousins, you figure out who the strong cousin is and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I had a strength of, ability of strength, being strong.
And then for baseball though, that's what you were going to go to college for. And
that's what I went to college for.
Yeah.
I got a scholarship in, baseball to NOC. I went out there for a year.
Is NOC Enid or is it
so
Tonkawa?
There's 3 locations. There's one in Enid, there's one in Tonkawa, and there's one somewhere else. I just don't know where. I forgot. I'm trying to smaller school.
Is it East? I think it's East.
I think it is East.
I had a friend named Shelvin that went to the one in Tonkawa.
That's the one I went to.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he went there for basketball.
The one in Enid is a different one than
Yep.
But they were rivals, so yeah.
So how'd you transition from college to more of the MMA side, jiu-jitsu side?
So I would say my mom ended up getting sick. She had some spots on her liver. And, once you worry about something, you end up feeling it. You end up getting sick or feeling like you're getting sick and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I believe her worrying about those spots made her more sick than what it was. And so turned out the spots wasn't cancerous. She had them removed.
Oh, thank goodness.
Everything was good. But that took, I want to say like 6 months to 8 months off of work. And so I was the only one here at the time. And I was living with my mom. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a job and I'm going to work while you take those 6 months off. And then if, everything comes back, I'll go back to college. You know what I mean?
So what are you, like 2021?
Now?
No,
at the time.
Not now.
At that time, yeah. No, let's say after, I think I was 20.
So just turned 20.
Just turned 20. So
that's some pressure.
Yeah. But before the spots came up and everything, I actually so there was a lady that worked at my mom's job named Tamara.
Okay.
And Tamara owns a gym in Oklahoma called Solid MMA.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so my mom introduced me to Timber. Was like, you should go try out or go, work out at her gym while I was here for, vacation or summer break, just so you stay in shape and this, that, and that. And so I was like, all right. And so went, tried out or worked out at the gym. And, I remember, so naturally always been strong, stronger. There wasn't like, I'll get taken down or I'll get my cousins on top of me or bigger cousins, but I was always able to move or do something. And I remember, his name was, Ben Gresham.
Okay.
He was at that time. So I'm 18, 19 at that time. And Ben was 16.
Oh, yeah.
15 or 16.
Yeah.
He was, I want to say he was even 14 or 15. He was young.
Yeah.
And he was a purple belt, and I didn't know anything. And he worked me for about an hour straight. Like, I didn't move, couldn't do anything, couldn't take him down. When I was on top, couldn't stay on top. It was crazy. And I was like, whatever this is, I want to learn this.
Yeah, I bet that was crazy for you.
Oh.
For it, because that's happened to me where they're young, and I'm like, man, this dude is like super good. He's 15.
And he's like holding me down.
Yeah. You're like, hey, man.
100%. So, I was like, I want to learn this. And so from that day, I think I came every day until every
So it
day
just started as jiu-jitsu though?
Yeah, it just started. Yeah, it just started as jiu-jitsu. Coming from Chicago, you get in fights, just being young. And it's not like, oh, Chicago's just so hard. It's just like growing up in Chicago, that's how you fit in. You know what I mean? You're gonna scrap or you're gonna fight with the kids down the street because they're gonna scrap regardless. And if you hold your own, or then you guys are friends type stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like earning your stripes.
Basically, yeah. As bad as it sounds, but it's really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. And so I've always stood up for myself.
Yeah.
I've always known how to defend myself. And my cousin was a boxer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you've always loved the boxing side.
My cousin was a boxer. So he used to always come and box with us, make us get in gloves.
Yep.
Beat us up.
Yeah, of course.
Stuff like that. So I've always known how to defend myself. And so when I came there, it was just jiu-jitsu that day anyways. So they did everything they wanted to do to me that day, especially Ben. And after that came every day, train.
And it was similar to American Top Team where they had everything? Kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and all that?
On different days.
Yeah, okay.
And so that Monday, I came on a Sunday where the gym was closed, but he had people he was working out. The coach had people he was working out, training with. Excuse me. And so I came on that Monday, and Monday was boxing. And that's when I known, like, oh, I can do this. I got something in this. And so boxing was good.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do think it's interesting how, because I didn't grow up boxing. I grew up playing basketball, but I learned very quickly with you as a coach, like, it's funny that it translates.
Oh.
Because you're not really punching in any sport besides combat, but I remember the agility helping. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting how that works.
I do feel like if you're an athlete in any other sport, that learning how to defend yourself in a martial arts will help you 100%.
Yeah.
Will help you in that martial art and help you in whatever sport you're in.
Well, yeah, because I played in a men's league with my childhood friends. We played last year. We lost in the championship. I'm hurt because I shot the ball and made the 3, but we needed a 4, and you have to be behind half court for a 4.
Gotcha.
But there was only 1 second left, so I just launched it. It's not my proudest moment. But we were playing, and I was like, I'm way more agile than I was. Like, coming to the gym and training with you, I was like, man, if I would have been training with Shaq as a high schooler, I would have been dunking and all types of shit. Because I never focused on the hip flexibility. And that was something that you really helped me with. You're like, no, you got to be able to do this and stretch here and be able to lift your leg here and stuff. And it's interesting how it translates to basketball or soccer or even other stuff.
100.
Volleyball, whatever.
So after knowing this and me being an athlete before jiu-jitsu and before boxing, before anything else, I definitely say that 100% now. Like, jiu-jitsu will help you understand everything better.
Helps move your body.
And help your body adapt to anything. Yep, 100%. So that's why my kids are in it right now. I mean, forever. I think they'll be in it.
They're super athletes. I'm excited to see your son.
Oh,
because
can't wait.
There's no way, because usually, like, the youngest is like the tallest or something like that. Kennedy set a high bar, but I'd be excited because Kennedy might be one of the most athletic children I've ever personally known myself. The other two kids were these twins on my nephew's basketball team. They were 9 years old, and they played like little high schoolers. But that was one sport.
Right.
Kennedy's pretty athletic and quite a bit, because when I watch her basketball, she's naturally athletic, but she's actually naturally gifted in what she's focused on. Like she's good at wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. She's good at basketball. She's not just athletic, because she has some game.
She's able to break things down to understand it. Yeah, I would say that's probably one of her gifts. Like she's able to calmly assess things and be like, all right, this is what I need to do at a high rate. So last year was her first year playing basketball, or the year before.
I remember you telling me.
I think the year before, actually, we joined late for a team. The year before, she did that for a couple, and then we were like, all right, you like basketball? Let's do it. And how she grasps now to where she was 2 years ago is crazy. So now she plays on a fifth grade team. She plays up.
What is she, fourth grade? Third grade?
She'll be going into fourth.
Yeah, 9 years old.
Yeah, she'll be going into fourth.
I thought it was cool when we went to the Naga and she was participating, and to have to fight through that. Because this is funny, like, I'm not, like we said, we're not shy people, but I was growing up, I was a lot more shy. 100%. And I remember being in a first grade play at school, and I didn't even have a part, really. I was like the group singing.
Yeah.
And everyone was wearing a sombrero. It was some Hispanic heritage play or something. And I'm just bawling on the stage because I thought I was embarrassed, but I think I was just putting pressure on myself. But I was like so nervous. And then I watched Kennedy, and she's doing the jiu-jitsu, and she's crying a little bit because it's tough. Right. I mean, jiu-jitsu is tough as an adult. And then she just sucked it up, rolled like a grown-up. And then afterwards was so hype. And I was like, man, there's something to it, because you have to see so much being a coach and her father. And if I would have worked through those type of things as a young kid, maybe I wouldn't have played football for 6 weeks and wanted to quit. Or maybe other things that I quit, I wouldn't have, because that was huge to me. And I'm 30 years old, but I'm watching this 8-year-old and I'm like, man, how tough is that? Yeah. Because I'm shaking when I was about to compete.
100%.
And I'm a grown man.
100%.
And there's not even anything going to happen.
No.
Like,
it's not going to die.
Nothing's going to happen. You're not even getting punched in the face.
That's crazy you broke it down like that. And what I'm trying to install in my kids now is fear will ruin you. Being afraid and being timid, that will ruin everything you have. And I believe that wholeheartedly, because I don't think I felt anything like that until I became a coach, if that makes sense.
So you never had like the nerves, really?
I've had the nerves, but I was like...
Because you've always said you get more nervous for other folks.
Other people. But so my nerves will come, but they're like... I know, so it's just a mental thing. Nerves come, but I know that's fear sneaking up in me somehow when it's me coming up to bat, me, making the last tackle, anything like that. That's what if I miss? How am I going to look? So that's just fear. And it took me a long time, but I brainwashed myself, I believe, into knowing or, telling my body, that's just fear. We're going to push through this.
Like it's a switch.
Right. It's a switch. But for other people, it's crazy. Or me representing other people it's crazy, more crazy for me, because it's like a switch that you can't turn off. You know what I mean? I'm going to represent this team. I'm going to represent that person, or I'm with that team till forever. Yeah. So you know what I mean? Yep. And that's how I am about that. So it's a little bit different. But when it's just like the individual Kennedy in our sports, I tell her all the time, she gets nervous. She tells me about how nervous she is before games all the time. How that girl's big, these girls are too big. And I tell her all the time, like, it's always the smallest one that shows out the most. It's always the one that has the most heart that people, remember.
You can tell. Yeah.
Right. And so I think that like feeds into her. And now she's like, all I got to do is push harder than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm not the best, I just gonna give my all. And it's working out.
So how long were you training at Solid before you got addicted to it? Because obviously you got addicted to it because you fought a ton.
So
MMA, boxing, kickboxing tournaments. Like when you tell me that you fought tournaments where you fight multiple times in a day, that's unreal to me.
So,
because I almost died. I was so tired. I said, Shaq, bro, I need snacks in between rounds. I'm tired.
I need blueberries. Need my blueberries. I remember. Bro, that's hilarious.
I can't believe you do multiple. But how long did it take you to get locked in?
It took me that first day of getting whooped by Ben to get locked in.
Oh, you're like, this can't happen.
Oh, 100%. So in college, you go out, right?
Yep.
You go, and so coming from Harrah, Oklahoma, going to a college, like everything was bigger times 10 to me, right? So we go out to different clubs or different bars, and they're huge. And the people down there, you see the bar fights down there. I couldn't be that guy. Couldn't be that guy getting dragged out, beat. I can't be that guy. So
side note, bro, I feel like I got that instilled in me early too, because the most gruesome fights I ever saw were in junior high. Like I didn't know why people at my school were fighting like that. So I know what you mean, where you're like, and I wasn't training early. I didn't train till I was already grown. But even in like junior high, high school, I was like, that can't be me.
That can't be me.
Because that's terrible.
It's a terrible feeling, especially when everybody's out there and looking at you. And so, I was like, that can't happen. So after Ben really opened my eyes, he was the first. I've been in fights before where it was like, man, that was close. Man, I didn't win that one, but we got away. Type stuff like that. You know what I mean? But seeing Ben like really
calmly dominate you,
calmly dominate me, it made me addicted to that. I was like, whatever he knows, whatever he is, whatever, I want to know how to do that. I want to know how. And so that right there.
And I think for the average person though that doesn't do jiu-jitsu, they kind of have to understand the gap between your first day and a purple belt, whether he's 15 or a grown man or a female.
100%.
Because a purple belt,
and
I don't realize how much you put in.
Ben wasn't a purple belt at 15.
Oh.
Because you got to be 16 to get your blue belt. So Ben was
just a super white belt.
No, he was a blue belt because he already had a color.
So he must have been 16.
So he was a blue belt, but he's been training and doing competitions way longer. So he was legit.
The gap from someone that's only been doing jiu-jitsu like a month to a regular person, it's so different. So I bet he was just using your strength and things. But then you come on a Monday and you box.
Right.
What's the transition to doing your first fight? Was it a long time or was it a short amount of time?
It was a short amount of time because I was still going back to college.
Oh, so you were just trying to do it right now?
Oh, I was just doing it to stay in shape so I can go back to college. And so
you were fighting in between going back to college. Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, like I said, I think I was on summer break or I was on a break to where I had to go back regardless. It wasn't done with school. And I think it was 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. I left early, 3 weeks. So I came. After that first week of being at home, my mom was like, you got to do something. Met Timmer. Went to the gym, started working out. Got whipped by Ben. Joined the gym. That Monday came boxing. The heart in boxing, like I said, I had never had any lessons or anything before besides my cousin beating me up and stuff like that, but never really took a boxing fight. I've been in martial arts since I was little. Like, I think I did Taekwondo at the mall. Stuff like that.
At the mall?
Yeah, I promise. Like,
Chicago's real.
Chicago's crazy, bro. And so, it was like Taekwondo in the mall. My mom's always had me in something extra, you know what I mean? So, came on that Monday. That Monday, I was like, I'll take a boxing fight tomorrow because of the fighters that was there. And I was like, as long as they don't take me down. As long as they don't take me down, I can stand. I'll stand my own. And all I wanted was a fight. I didn't want to win. I didn't want to lose, of course. But all I wanted was to be like, I took that fight. I took an MMA fight. I took a boxing fight.
So you started with boxing?
No. I jumped right into MMA. Couple weeks of
training.
training.
Is like 20 years old or 19 years old?
Yeah, 19. Dang. 19, yeah.
You really are a vet, because aren't you 31, 32?
I'm 32 now, yeah.
A real vet.
A real vet.
That's crazy.
I was gonna say I remember going to the bar and not being able to like get a drink afterwards. You know what I mean?
You're like, yeah, but I was just in the cage.
I was just fighting, yeah.
Like I should get a pass.
And so took my first fight. Turned out to be a guy that had multiple boxing fights, multiple things that he was trying in MMA as well. But he's already had multiple boxing fights, double digits. And it just so happened that it was my first fight and I ended up choking him. So
dang, with minimal training.
With the little training that I had, yep.
And I think that's crazy too on the so I grew up playing sports, go to college for basketball like you went for baseball. But once you go into the martial arts realm, there's no age limit.
No. So
you can be 21 fighting 28. You could be 19 fighting a 30-something-year-old. Yep. Like it's pretty intense. Yep. So even for you, even if that guy was only a little older, I don't know how old he was, but even if he was just a little older, to have all that experience, it's like Luis at our gym. He's young, but he's been training since he was 12.
Exactly.
So that's really different compared to...
What is it?
At least you got the win.
Yeah, first brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Luis is brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty sure he's like a 2-stripe black belt in karate. Karate, I think. I don't want to misspeak, but Taekwondo or karate, one of them. I know they don't really get along, but like he's legit certified.
Yeah, he's the first person I got to see as an example from being like a kid to a grown-up. Because when I came to the gym, he's already an adult. But you are like, no, I remember when he was 11, 12. So you get that first fight. Was it like, our friends Sonny and Aranda and them, that it was a bunch of fights up front? You just kept going, or did you have a break, or what did that look like
for
once you had your first fight?
Yeah,
I know some people have their first fight and then we're like, well, I'm gonna knock out. I'm gonna just keep going.
No, so it was similar like that. So remember, I went back to school. So I had my first fight. I want to say 3 days later, I ended up going back to school.
Oh, dang.
So it was just for that. Like my sister was going off to the Air Force. So she was going away, and we were all at home for like that. So I was like, I'm gonna take a fight. And that's how it was. So ended up taking a fight.
Well, I don't want to breeze past that. Because we were talking about nerves. Were you nervous? Were you just locked in? Were you so inexperienced you didn't know to be as nervous as you should be? Or like, because that's different. I remember Rachel telling me, hey, like, I know you're qualified to do it. When she was talking to me, she's like, but just be ready. It's quick. The lights come on and then there's no one in there. Because I remember it's like 8 people in the cage doing announcements. And then they're like, boom, fight. And then it's just you and him. And it's like, damn, are we in the streets? So were you so inexperienced that it was easy? Or were you struggling that first time with like the nerves and stuff?
Let's go back to the nerves real fast. So in a basketball game, before your basketball game, you feel those nerves.
Yeah, my heart.
It's beating. It's adrenaline, really, right?
Yeah.
But once you start, it's gone.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but that's how all nerves work. You know, you get nervous before. You're not nervous as you're doing or as you're going competing. So, with that, it's like, so yes, I was nervous, but it wasn't nervous on any other or any other level besides, hey, I'm about to fight this guy.
And then when it started, it's on.
No, once he hits me, we're fighting.
Whether it's a fight, real estate, business, hooping, whatever, it's like you're going now.
It's going, right?
Okay.
And so then you don't even think about the what ifs or this or that, especially it being your first one. You're just like, oh, I'm fighting.
Yeah.
Finally. So it's more exciting than nervousness for me on the first one. I believe like I didn't start feeling nervous or anything towards pressure until some pressure was put on it. Title fight. Yeah. That's nervous. You know what I mean? Like I got to win this to prove to everybody.
Well, you've been a professional fighter for a long time.
Right.
I mean, like 10 years.
And
that's crazy.
And that's another thing. Yeah. Going professional is like, that's nervousness, but you want to be like, yes, I was a great amateur, but I want to be a great professional as well. I want to win more fights professionally than I did amateur. You know, so you put a little bit more pressure on yourself, which just causes, different things. But
it's interesting too, because at the gym, like when I started, I got blessed. I started, you were the striking coach. I luckily became friends with you quick. So I was getting privates on the side where I could develop faster, where I wasn't relying just on the class. Even though the class will push you quickly, I was getting extra reps. So I feel like I got blessed coming in when I did. I did come in a little late compared to when you all were all fighting, when it was like 8 or 9 of you all. I was on the back end of that, but I felt really blessed because there was like a structure. And I guess the relationship with you made it a lot easier too, because the jiu-jitsu with Giuliano is great because he's so good at it, like obviously, but he's our coach, but he's good at teaching it. He progresses you fast as long as you're paying attention. But the striking is like you. So it was interesting because you talked about fighting growing up. Luckily, I only had to get, I think, in 3 fights. So I only got in about 3 fights. And it's funny, I always laugh because I always had a friend or my big sister that was like, I'd rather fight. And I'm like, all right, okay, you got it. But it is crazy how confident you get from getting that type of training. Like from you taking the time to teach us stuff and really take that time to just protect yourself. Like I would have never thought, even though I know you're doing a percentage of your skill when we spar, I would have never thought that I could do that.
Right.
Like, and I know we're friends, so luckily I get a nicer side of you. But, bro, I would have never thought that.
Bro,
because I remember being so scared, Shaq. Not scared to where, like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But there were so many consequences messing with kickboxing sparring with, like, you or Brandon or Josh or Sonny. There were so many consequences, especially with you, though, since you were the coach. I felt like there was so much consequences that I almost would want to like limit myself. But once you get comfortable, it kind of blows your mind. Because I bet you've seen the craziest growth in you because you had that first fight win and then you're professional for 10 plus years. But then now you're teaching people and you get to see people because I probably wasn't your most rawest, but I feel like me and Rachel, everything was you.
Oh, for sure. So it's that you brought that up. It's great. I want to say, I don't remember the statistics 100%, but I want to say a blue belt knows more than like 80% of people.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right?
Which, when I started and Speedy was a blue belt, he's still my nemesis. I love him to death, but man, those were like, oh, this is competition level. Because he's really good, but he's also, you know, a little shorter than me, really strong, but he relies on technique and speed.
Right.
And I just remember him wearing me out. Like, you guys would beat me up, but you'd be like, hey, try this. Hey, try this. He's just far enough to where he can, like, really mess you up. But he's not too far where he wants to take it easy.
Right.
So, like, when we started, even that blue belt gap is crazy.
And so, with that being said, just imagine how many people do the same thing, and it's not, like, even calculated of boxing.
Yeah.
Kickboxing.
Yeah, because there's not stripes.
Or Muay Thai even, right? There is like little chrisms in Muay Thai, but there's not a lot of Muay Thai gyms in here in Oklahoma either that will give you that. So with that being said, I just believe mentally that if I really know how to throw a punch, know how to block, how to defend myself, I know more than 60% of people that are out here on the streets anyways. So with that, like you mentioned, the confidence, your confidence walking around every day is automatically going to be 10 times better.
Because you're used to it.
Your patience is automatically going to be 10 times better because you're like, I don't need to take it there. I don't need to go there because you're calm on the inside because of everything that you've gone through in jiu-jitsu and doing this and learning it. And you just know, I don't know, jiu-jitsu, martial arts make you calmer. It doesn't, just because you know martial arts, it's not like, oh, I know martial arts, no one's going to bother me. You'd be amazed how many times I've talked myself out of situations out on the street than fighting after I learned martial arts.
Yeah, because people wouldn't, if they just saw you fight, they'd think that was like you all the time. But you're super calm and reserved. I think that's why we gel so much is because we're pretty similar on a couple things. I think growing up with a more mother-led household where you have to be a little more independent, but you also deal with a lot of emotions when you grow up in a women household, I feel like, because You had an older sister, right, Symphony?
No,
she's
I'm
younger.
the youngest. I mean, I'm the oldest.
She's younger
Yeah,
than you.
she's younger.
But you're close enough in age that you see like her become a woman.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how it was with me and my sister. So I'm getting that type of emotions.
She became a woman before I became a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And she's younger than me, so yeah.
My sister was older, but same thing. Because she had kids, she grew up, and she had it tougher than me with the just normal growing up. But I think that does something to you to where it, I don't know, I feel like it makes you more emotionally in tune. Now, I know that like when we've talked before on more like the mental health side and things, that's hard to get into, but I think we wouldn't be able to get into it at all if we wouldn't have grown up that way, because honestly, I think when you grow up with just the male dominant, there's a lot of benefits there too. Because I didn't grow up with my dad in the house. I was around him a lot, but my instincts, I guess, like my natural reaction to things came from my mother's side. So there was a lot of times I would blow up or get defensive or be scared to get in trouble. So even as an adult with Rachel, she would say something and I would like freeze. And I had to realize like that was me reacting type of thing.
Kid trauma?
Yeah, you don't think about it because when we were growing up, we're the same age group. I thought that shit was fake. Like I thought when people said anxiety, it was really a joke. But then I realized, oh, that's why your heart beats so hard when you're doing something. Like I thought anxiety was just a negative. And it wasn't until I started training martial arts and Rachel pushing me to do some counseling that stuff started to make more sense. It even was better at the gym because that ego does come into play. Not with your friends, luckily. Like I can roll with you and you can just whoop me, but it's still fun. But then there's someone you may be battling with and you have to realize like things aren't that serious. Like I remember sometimes we'd have like a random at the gym or someone that only comes here and there and it's like way more serious. And it's like, I just won't fool with them because we're not fighting.
It's not that serious.
Yeah, I remember sometimes when we'd be sparring, I would hit just the pros. And I'd be getting whooped. It's not like I'm saying I'm getting with the pros because I'm winning.
Right.
But I would just do the pros and no one else because I'd rather get beat up by someone that knows what they're doing. Like, I think you've hit me too hard twice. I remember that one time you punched me and I just said stop.
Yeah.
And you started dying. I was like, no, that one was close. I started seeing sparkles. But then you can go with someone that doesn't know what they're doing and like actually get hurt. So I think that's a cool way that's probably why we got so close. And I think that's why I'm close with all of our friends at the gym, but especially you and Sonny and Josh and people like that, because I grew a lot of relationships in like the basketball trenches. I remember my friend Phil Carey, he was like the one at my school from Louisiana. I believe he came up in the same age group as Galloway that played in Louisiana. He played for the Knicks, but he was just a killer. And I'd never seen like someone that good besides my two friends from high school that was Brandon and Tilford. They were like the best at our school. And then when I went to college, I remember our first day of Hell Week, you're having to flip tires, big old truck tires. And they just partner you up with somebody. And a lot of people get 3 to a tire. First day with them, I'm a walk-on. And the coach really didn't fool with me. And when I look back, especially after talking with Rachel, a lot of my attitude had a problem to do with that. But we get paired up and it's just me and him. And I'm told he's the guy. And you know how the guy is. Usually he's more like a cocky guy and he was definitely confident. But I was like, dang, he's just partnered up with me. We're pushing each other to flip this tire from here across the street and back. And he's the best one here and I'm the lowest one here. Like I was the newest walk-on. So it was just cool to meet someone like that. But I was saying that because you develop those relationships. Like Phil is still one of my guys that I'm really close to. I've got a couple other from college basketball. Like we always called him Hick because his last name was Hickerson and he was from the country. But as an adult, he goes by his name, which is Ryan. So I always forget. But him, Keys, I call him little bro, Caleb McCain. Like these people mean a lot to me. And when I was growing up, I had the friends I grew up with from junior high. I have a group of us, but there was 2 main ones that I met real young. That was James and Sydney. You've met them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was really closed off. I felt like I didn't want to make new relationships because I didn't trust anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to college and I was like, oh, you can meet some guys that you're close to or girls, whatever, people that you're close to. But then it happened again because I didn't come to I'm 31. I didn't come to the gym till like 27.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met you all and I'm like, oh no, these are people are family too. So that's something else that's been really important, I think, in my growth as a person, and probably yours as well, is like realizing that people you meet at an adult age aren't less than because you don't know them as long.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've known Sydney since 3rd grade,
Mm-hmm.
but I've known you for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like I still feel that closeness. And I just think that's cool because you build it struggling. Like when we're sitting there sweating to death and you guys set a good example. Like I said, I came in and you were a coach, but you're also one of the hardest workers. Josh, one of the hardest workers. Mm-hmm. Like I remember it was like a milestone for me one day. Josh wasn't there, so that's probably why. But we were at circuit and coach had me do the examples. Mm-hmm. And the only people that ever did the examples in front of me was you and Josh. And y'all weren't there. But that one day I did the examples, I was like, feeling good. I made it. But it's just, I didn't know I needed that leadership. It kind of goes back to growing up in a woman household. Mm-hmm. I had my dad around, and me and him are best friends now, and we have this great relationship, and I'm so thankful for it. But I didn't know I needed that structure and that male leadership. Mm-hmm. So like you telling me what to do, Josh teaching me, and then G's mentality, but also like father figure like coaching and structure, mm-hmm. and him being like damn near a robot where you almost don't believe someone can be that locked in.
That's
like
100%.
Him and Emily are like man, that's why I say I'm lazy. Cause I'm like, bro, there's no way. But
them 2 are robots. Them 2 are the most dedicated, driven, self-disciplined people I've ever met. Like on different levels. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, we own this gym, we're doing this for our gym. Yeah, they can do that and still live their different lifestyles. Mm-hmm. They choose to live the lifestyle that they live, straight by the book, do this, do that. They don't cut corners. Like they make you believe that.
They make you be better for
right,
sure.
Right, 100%.
But I didn't realize how much that was like needed. Yeah. And then these last 4 years have been some of the best of my life. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, we fast tracked it a little bit because you and I were doing like 6 days a week, which is crazy. But I just didn't think you could meet people later in your life that would impact you so much. So I think that's really cool. Like when we went, so, you know, Rachel has her fight and then she wants her second one. And I'm like, screw it, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have done that, I don't think, if I didn't have people like you. Like, of course, Rachel helped me so much. Josh, you, G. But without that combination of everybody, I don't even think that's possible to just do it. Because you need so much support. I didn't realize how hard it was. Like,
it's an individual sport.
Yeah, much respect to everyone that's locked in and does it full time. Because it's so tough. But the support is crazy. So I kind of piggybacked on what you were saying when you turned into the coach mode. You care a lot. Mm-hmm. So for you to care that much for me, and we're like freshly introduced to each other, but now it's like 1,000% locked in. It's so crazy. Like when I watched the video of my fight, don't watch it often, but when I watch the one on my phone, it has the walkout. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dang, all I had was Shaq and G. Like, of course, Rachel would have been by the cage if she didn't have to sit in the back, but she was going up next. Right. But I'm like, dang. Like, it was a cool moment for me. I'm an emotional guy, mm-hmm. and sometimes too emotional. I remember a funny thing is Carla saw Rachel at the gym, and Carla was like, oh, Zach must not be here. He's not saying hi to everybody. And she meant it in a good way. But I just love hard. Mm-hmm. So when I watch that video, it like gives me goosebumps because I'm like, it was just me, Shaq, and G walking into war where I've only had to do that one other time. And it was in junior high. And this guy wanted to fight me. And the only people that, well, twice, but the only people that walked out with me was James and Sydney. And I was like, it just reminded me so much of it. It's pretty crazy when I watched the video because I'm like, what is Shaq thinking? Because he probably knows me better than I know myself at this point as far as on the MMA side. Mm-hmm. Like, you know more about what I'm going to do than I do. I remember, it's so funny because I should have just tapped hands with dude, but I didn't want to touch hands, and then I still froze. And you're like, hey, let's go. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. Like, this is real. So it's interesting to see you because I'm speaking from my perspective because that's the one that means a lot to me, obviously, because it's us. Mm-hmm. But I've seen you do that with everybody. I've seen you corner multiple people. I've seen you corner kids. I see how you train not only your kids, but the whole group of kids in your kids' class. And your privates, you have people you've had for years. So, like, what is it that makes it mean so much to you? Because obviously it does. You wouldn't do this for no reason. Like, I know you make money from certain things and all of that, but it's passion driven.
Right.
What makes you be so selfless in that? Because we were using a lot of your energy.
So you hear it's not work if you're having fun. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. And that's like another thing about G. He's also a great mentor of mine. I don't go to him as often as I should, but when I hit that rock bottom, he's that person that I go to. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it'd be a lot easier if I go to him right when I'm feeling.
But you're kind of like that.
But I am like that.
Yeah, you want to handle it yourself.
I very much.
Or fail it at yourself. You're like, I'll win or lose by myself.
By myself, and then if I need help, I'll ask for it then. But I'm very much like that, and that's not always the best way. It took me a long time. I'm still learning lessons from that. But one thing that I would say that stuck with me was when I was in between. I just got my real estate license.
How long ago was that now? Because that was something cool to me because we met at the gym, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to get into it. And I wanted to applaud you.
Let's dive in that real fast.
Yeah, let's do that. I wanted to applaud you because I've had so many people tell me they're getting into it and fall off. And I've had some go all the way. Mm-hmm. So I'm not just downing anybody. But you said you were going to do it, and then you did it, and you're continuing to do it. So that's really impressive, especially with you're a father. You have all this stuff going on. You got 3 kids. Mm-hmm. You're a grown man. So what, like, when you got into real estate, how long ago was that now?
2 years.
That's it?
Yeah. Like you got to do your continuing education in 3 years, right?
Yep.
So I'm hitting my 3-year mark. Yep.
That's crazy too, because luckily you've had a wide range of experience already, whether it's off market, on market, management, construction, probably even more than I'm listing. It's really impressive, honestly.
Man. So I want to touch up because this is all of this is related. Mm-hmm. When you're doing something that like you just don't mind doing, it's not work. And one thing that G said, he was like, what is it that you want to do? And I was like, honestly, I want to be successful.
Well, I've heard you say that a long time, even with your kids.
I don't even want to be rich. Mm-hmm. I just want to be successful so that whatever comes with that success will help us out. If you're successful, everything else is going to pan out. You don't have to be rich for everything else. You're going to make rich problems and problems that I can't even think about right now.
How often does success change to you? Because I'm sure, just like me, you're looking in the mirror and your example of success is always changing. But then your son walks up and says, I love you, Dad. And you're like, I'm already successful.
So,
because it's a whirlwind.
The definition of my success doesn't change. It changes to the circumstance a little bit. Me seeing myself not where I was a year ago is success for me. Right? But with that being
breaking
said,
it down.
Being said, how much did I have to go through within that year? Mm-hmm. How many back steps did I have to take in that year? How many ups and downs did we go through as a family in that year? What does that look like when you do that? Is that like you sitting in the car and you're just thinking on your way home? Are you like a journaler? Are you just sitting in the garage thinking? Like, what is that? That's so...
Because I don't think I look inside enough all the time. But I have noticed in the last few months, as I've been trying to get better, sometimes I'm okay with silence because I'm like working through a master plan. So what does that look like for you?
So breaking that down, looking at it for me is honestly builds back up to the relationships. I view my relationships as like everything. My relationship, if I can build 10 more relationships this year, I'm succeeding no matter what, no matter how this year panned out.
Yep.
With that being said, I think I built or I put in relationships with the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, real estate wise, you're purely almost referral based, right?
100% now.
I didn't get a referral till like 4 years in.
Which that, man, when you told me that.
Yeah.
We went over
that's
that.
why I always told you how cool it was that you were referral based from the get go.
Yeah. So that's only because of relationships.
Yep.
Only because of the relationships. But so you, even in your journey in real estate, I got into real estate because you and Tez.
Yep.
You and Tez was like, hey, we believe that you'll make a great fit at this. You're a great people person. You can talk this, and this. You should try it.
It's crazy how good you are at talking to people. It really is. It really is. You and Sonny, it's impressive.
We'll talk to a dog.
Yeah, it is impressive.
But having you guys and then seeing where you were at that time, I was like, Tez was a little, he was just different. He was on his own 100%.
Yeah, and he's been more on the starting the business side and really growing it. So we were on different levels.
Right.
That's not a problem. Yeah,
100%. You guys are on different levels, but like your grind and what you're doing, I was like, oh, I didn't even want, like in my mind, like, oh, Tez is doing this and this is great. He talked me, he says I can do this. It's cool. But seeing you do what you're doing and still having your home base was what got me.
Yeah, it's been hard.
How tight you guys were and keep working out. And you and Rachel worked out. We were together all the time, but it was me, you, and Rachel together. You know what I mean?
She would go, I would go, back-to-back privates. Yeah.
You got like, so it was together all the time. And I was like, Zach is still doing this, and he still has an awesome relationship at home. But if you ever call Zach is answering the phone. If you ever was like, hey, Zach, you want to, I need to go talk. I need to have a drink. You want to go out? Zach is there. Mm-hmm. Zach is coming.
For the right folks, for sure.
Right. Well, okay. Yep. For the right folks.
Yep,
but
yep.
Zach has always been there. And that's how my life I wanted to be. I wanted to be good on my own, but I wanted to be there for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I believe being a coach is what has helped me live that dream.
Yeah. I've never been more in the coaching, or I haven't really ever been on the coaching side. I've always just been more on like the living side of it, but that's something that always sparked, because that's another thing about just respect in relationships. Mm-hmm. Me and you are brothers. Mm-hmm. Like we could go through a wide range of activity.
Yes.
But when you're a coach, Shaq, I'm listening, I'm taking advice, when you say good job, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, he said good job. Like, when we were driving home from the gym together or driving home from my fight or whatever, we would just talk. And like, I love that. I've always loved that about my friendships, that there can be different levels. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like you're like teaching class and I'm like, oh, it's just Shaq. It's like, no, he's teaching class. It's go time.
Right.
So on those relationships, they just mean so much to me as well. And I wanted to piggyback on something you said, because you were talking, that's how you never know how good you're doing sometimes, because you say all this balance and it just makes me smile. Mm-hmm. But all I see is when I first started, relationship with Rachel was tanking because I was just busting my ass. Mm-hmm. Then it went up and I was just not working. Mm. And I see drop-offs. I'm having tough conversations with the investment company I'm with. I'm not producing on the realtor side. Like tough conversations. Mm-hmm. And my family or my home life is good, but since we're struggling, it's not the best.
100%.
And then I started finding a little bit of a balance. And I'm still finding it now, but me and you talked about it on the phone multiple times. And you'll remember or you won't, but it was, you have to be okay with what you did today. That's it. What you did today, if I'm cool with it, I'm cool with it. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If you made $0, if you made 10 grand, if it wasn't money related at all, if you stretched well, if you had lunch with your kids, like something that makes me feel rich and probably goes back to you're successful, is you're always picking your kids up from school.
Every
so
day.
That's cool.
That's
your thing.
Right.
My thing is I always have lunch with Rachel at home almost daily. Like I'm doing all this stuff. I'm running around going crazy, but I'm like, 12 to 1 and got to hit the house. So when you're talking about that success, and the balance is what's led you there. When you're checking in, like, do you give yourself the flowers, or are you like, yeah, cool, keep pushing? Because that's something.
It's tough.
Sometimes Rachel will say, hey, you're doing a great job. And it means the world, even though she doesn't have to say it. And Morgan does that for you, because when I talk to her, it's always about you. When I see her at the gym, she'll be like, oh, he's doing so good. Or he's been really on his shit or whatever. How do we break that? Like where you smell the flowers and you're something is like, I do this yoga sometimes and I'm not super consistent, but I stretch a lot, but like this actual yoga on YouTube, I'll randomly do it. And I can't remember her name right now. Super sweet lady, but she says, be kind to yourself. And I'm like, shit. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not. I'm rushing. I'm like, crap, I dropped the ball. So like, are you nice enough to yourself, or are you like, you still working on it?
I'm definitely still working on that part. It's tough because I don't want to be like,
too complacent.
And I've been there.
Me too.
So
yeah.
I've been there to where, and this is another thing that keep me humble and keep me grinding is because you never know what's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So like you said, you hit these roadblocks early. I didn't hit these roadblocks early. I hit, you're in real estate? You need some money to invest? Here you go. Oh, you're in real estate? You need me to buy a house? I'll buy a house tomorrow. Here you go. Oh, you're in real estate? I work with Morgan. Can you sell my house? I didn't hit those roadblocks.
Side note. That was crazy because we helped the same client.
Yep. Your first house, or
it was my first in that neighborhood.
Okay. Yep. Your first in that neighborhood was my first sell ever. So my first listen.
Those people were really nice to me.
Really.
It was Zachary, Rich, I think, and I don't remember the wife's name, unfortunately. But I know that when I saw that, it just made me really happy because I was like, look at God. We're learning together. That's crazy how small the world is that it can be the same client. Because real estate is a passion of mine, but I think my biggest passion is the relationships. It's the only reason I wanted to start this podcast and talk to you is because I've built all these relationships and I feel like it'd be a disservice not to share them with people so they could see different sides of it. Yeah. And those things mean a lot to me. And to see you be successful and go through ups, downs, we'd be talking and you're like, it's not going well. Oh, it's going great. Oh, it's not going well. But you never quit. And I think that's the thing where people tell me how great I'm doing. And you and me or you looking in, you're only seeing like behind the curtain. But I think sometimes that comes down to being nice to yourself. Like, yeah, you are doing a good job. Like the fact that you can balance a full household and you all aren't surviving. Y'all are living. Which I don't want to speak for you, but from what you've told me, you were like me growing up, that it was more survival than like just
until my stepdad, and then after my stepdad became that again. But 100%.
I'm talking those early years.
The early years was more survival.
Where it's more survival to where your kids, from the outside looking in, like I said, I'm not speaking for you, but they don't really have to want for something. Now, that doesn't mean they get everything.
Right.
Because my nephews and nieces don't get everything. But they don't have to want for something either. And you live a good life, you've built a good life, but you still coach. And not only do you still coach, because you could coach and be out of shape, but you're training all the time. I think that's something else with your balance, though. When I met you, it was 6 days a week, and now you've got it structured. But you manage that, and you manage a real estate business, which people say like you want to work for yourself so you don't have a 9 to 5. but it's 24/7.
It's 24/7.
And then you have to be okay with, I'm not feeling that call right now. To where sometimes you're just go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it speaks to a lot of people, like, your drive has to be crazy.
So where do you give yourself the flowers? I feel like I can meet all these little goals. And as long as I'm meeting those goals and I'm not going back, no matter what happens in that year, succeeding, right? But I feel like I don't want to be complacent, so I don't ever be like, yo, I'm doing it. I got it. This is working out. Because the quicker that I feel that, the quicker it's going to be taken away. And it's proved, and it's been proven. Yeah. It's been proven within this year. So, you know what I mean? So the time I'll be like, oh, I don't have to do this. I can do this. And I sit back and just do this. That'll get taken away in a heartbeat. And so I always feel like I have to do what I'm doing already. I have to keep hustling. I have to keep going. I have to keep finding the next thing. I have to.
Well, you said it too. Keep going. I mean,
keep going.
That's the message. I mean, but not. You got to keep going, but you don't want to breeze over those accomplishments.
That's true. I feel like the only way people label their success is how long they've kept going. Because if you didn't keep going... Because
if you did it for 6 months, it's cool. But if you did it for 6 years, it's different. Or 60 years.
You're successful if you've done it for that, right? Or if I given up in the first 3 months, it's not like I wasn't successful. I quit, right? I only gave it 6 months of my life. I only gave it 3 months or whatever. You know what I mean? I legit quit that aspect in order to pursue or do something else. So I quit that. And I believe no matter what, if you're passionate about something, all you have to do is keep going. If you're passionate about something, all you gotta do is keep going. I mean,
you said it in an interview of yours, and this is before we met, but I was nerding out, bro. When I met you, I'm like, all right, I know it's embarrassing for fighters because they're like, why'd you watch all my fights? Like, I loved it. I was like, let me watch his fights, his interviews, because he's the man. Like, because you are to us. And I hear your interview at the gym, and you said, keep going. I sent it to you. I was like, look at this. Like, of course, me and Tez would always say that to each other. And everyone says it. It's not like we trademark the name.
Right.
But it's a mentality. And you're in an interview about to fight, and you're like, yeah, you just got to keep going. And in the beginning, when I said I was messing up my balance, it was because I kept going, but I wasn't checking my boxes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of sense.
You get some time with the family, you got some time at the gym, you got some time in the business, and you got some alone time. That's like a full plate. That's great.
Right.
Not just one or the other. So and that goes into something else. And I wanted that to be a theme for this podcast. I mean, the name is the Keep Going Podcast. And that's something I want to ask everybody is, what's a moment you had to keep going, but it panned out? And I know you have a ton with your roller coaster of a life, but when you think back to a pivotal moment, what's a moment where you really were at the bottom and you had a choice? You could quit and be like 90% of the people we know that we have love for, but they fell off, whether it's in business or life or whatever, not dollar related. But you just said, no, I'm gonna dig deep. What's one of those for you, you think?
So there's multiple, and there's stuff that keeps coming up to this
100%.
day.
Up to this point.
But up to this point, I believe the most pivotal time where I was like, I'm going to keep going. This is going to work out. I was in my relationship with Morgan.
How long have you all been together?
I
won't make you lie.
7 years, 8 years.
It's got to be more than that.
We've been together 10 years, 11. So, 10, 11 years. Oh my gosh, 10, 11 years.
Since y'all were kids.
Since we were kids. I mean.
Because being 20, 21, you're still a kid.
I remember, 21. Morgan spent my 22nd birthday with me. So, that was my most pivotal, because at any point in time, going through this, you could have gave up. Not giving up. I didn't have to choose what I chosen. And then once you have a baby, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I haven't hit that, so I get it.
Once you have that baby, it didn't come about me no more. It became about the outlook of her. You know what I mean? I want her to have the best version of everything that she can possibly have. Mom and dad in the house, not dealing with the divorce.
Isn't that crazy how huge that is?
Man, it's great. It's great.
I thought it was weird that my friends had both parents.
I
was like, y'all have both? Is that a lot going on in the house? Like,
is that a lot?
How was the shower situation?
Crazy.
It was only 3 of us. It was quick.
Yeah.
Like, I think of, and it's funny to think that that's just trauma related, but I thought it was weird to see both parents.
My thing was, it wasn't weird to see both parents, but it was weird to see both parents enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know
I thought it was fake. I'm like,
I'd seen both parents happy, seeing both parents on vacation, so again, childhood trauma. I didn't see any of this till my stepfather, really, right? That's when we went on vacations. That's when I started remembering things. That's when this.
Isn't that crazy that you start remembering stuff? Because you suppress a lot.
And we didn't, like, my mom didn't have the best life growing up. So she's been through it.
Yeah.
And so her being through it, like, once that happened, I remember even being a kid, like, even at 9, 8 years old, like, if I have a family, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to, like, Great Wolf Lodge. Yeah. We're going to go on vacations. We're going to eat dinner every night. We're going to go out to eat every Sunday together, because that's what we did as that. And that right there made me come so much closer to respect this man who's come in and adopted 2 black children. He was white. My stepfather is white. So adopted 2 black children.
Yeah, I got to talk to him one time on the phone. He's cool.
Yeah, he's real cool.
Yeah.
But to adopt 2 black children and take him in as his own and ask them, like, hey, you don't have to take my last name. You don't have to. You can keep your last name, but I am going to adopt you because you're my son, this and that. But to take his last name and go on from there, like, it showed me that this is what it showed me. It showed me that your family isn't gonna, like, your family isn't who you were born
100%.
Your family can be anybody who is gonna extend the same love that you have. And so with that, so it was people in his family that we still didn't vibe with, still didn't get with, but his mother, his father, him, they extended their love so much that automatically, like, that's my dad. That's my father. Even though the divorce happened or whatever, that's my dad. You know what I mean? And now we have 2 brothers and sisters. I have a brother and sister with him. But him showing the goodness of what he wanted to do just because that's what he wanted to do. I remember him picking us up from school without my mom knowing or anything like that. Just like, I don't want you to take the bus. I don't want you to go here. I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to take you. Boom. Him showing the love showed me, like, this is how a family should.
It's crazy how powerful love is. Because that's why we're so close, or you're close with people at the gym or other people that you've met in the world. I'm so, like, you took the words out of my mouth with saying it's not always who you grow up with. It's not always blood that's family.
Right.
And it means a lot to me to have that. Because I have family. I didn't grow up with a lack of family.
Right.
I was blessed to have a lot of family. But the relationships that I've made as an adult, it's unreal. Like, it really is. So do you think seeing that love, like you said, from him helps you push through those challenges with your wife?
That 100%. So anytime me and my wife, we go through anything, like any trauma, anything, the first thing that comes up in my head is the arguments that my parents went through. The arguments that I've overheard, I've seen, I've done this. I'm like, they're going through the same thing, or they're saying the same thing. This got to stop. You know what I mean? I try. And me and Morgan have been more conscious of, like, hey, we're not going to discuss that in front of the kids. We're not going to talk like that in front of the kids. If we have a disagreement or a misunderstanding, bring that up later on. Bring that up in the room.
That's mature, though.
And
maturity to be able to have the conversation in a productive manner.
But it's taken a lot and a lot of trial and error. Kennedy is me in a little girl's version body. Yeah. She is me 100%. So she'll see something and she'll hear the wrong. She'll be like, no, you're actually the wrong one. Like, and that's something that you don't want to have your kid jumping in you guys' conversations or anything.
Because at the same point, you're still an adult and they're a child.
Right. You still have
You
to
still
be
have to keep that
respectful.
separation.
Right.
Especially being a younger parent. I know you're 32, but you were in your 20s.
Yeah.
So you're a young parent.
Yeah.
So it's probably hard to balance being their friend and their parent.
Their dad, yeah. That's
Especially for you because you're so cool. Like, you're like, oh, let's go fish.
yes, yeah.
But then you also got to teach them life lessons.
So we have a pretty good understanding. They know they're like, Dad's cool up until he's not. So we have a pretty good understanding there, and it's honestly, it's all about respect. I remember one of the most like other people that helped guide how I speak to people, how I talk to people is Crew. Ruben Zimmerman, the Muay Thai coach. He was yes sirring me and no sirring me at 17. All that did was instill me that you treat someone with respect and as an adult or with whatever compassion, you just treat people how you want to be treated 100%. Whether they're little or old. It's crazy
how it comes full circle.
Man,
100%.
I say yes sir to no sir to my little kids in class. To the point to where they're now their parents, yes sir, it's no sir to him. You know what I mean? And it just starts respectful boundaries, right?
Yeah.
From there, it just starts a different thing. And I treat my kids the same way. Kennedy, when she's in class, it's not, no, Kennedy, it's yes ma'am, no ma'am, just like anybody else. And I think that lets her know that Dad's dad when he's here, Dad's friend when we're doing friend stuff.
So the same thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Dad's dad when he's at home, but Dad's my friend. If we're at the basketball game, I can go and talk smack to Dad about the other team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One thing Kennedy, like her thing in soccer is like, well, soccer and basketball, she's like, oh, they don't got their names on their jersey? That mean they're not legit. And so it's a full funny thing that she doesn't say out loud. She just come to me and that's her thing. And she's just a friend, you know? So
I know what you mean because my nephew Prince, his birthday's actually tomorrow. But that's like my son. So my oldest nephew is like a little brother. Even though I'm an uncle to him, for some reason that's how we locked in. Prince, it's more of a father figure. And then my niece, it's like a cool uncle.
Yeah.
So I get a balance of it. But he does marching band and color guard.
Okay.
So and it still pisses me off that he won't watch Major Payne. But I tell him to watch Major Payne because they were flipping the guns and that's what he does. He flips the guns and catches them and all that. And one of his performances, it was like 3 months ago, he's in this big old line of people. They're walking into the arena and they're going to get set up. But I'm walking in at the same time. He just walks past me and gives me the handshake that we made up when we were younger and just hits it in stride and keeps moving.
It keeps moving.
And I'm just like, man, it's crazy to have that. Because when you say Kennedy says that to you, like, it shows a lot of love and respect. I remember one time with me and Prince, he only played basketball for one season. He didn't like it very much. But he's so athletic, he was good at it. But there was one play in practice where I got to scrimmage with the kids to like just be an extra body. And I remember throwing him the ball, he threw it back, and I threw it back to him, and he shot it and made it. And I was like, I know that doesn't mean that much to him, but I've never thrown an assist to my nephew. So it was like really cool to me. And then when he dabbed me up as a 16-year-old, and we started doing that handshake when he was like 6, it's just crazy to see how much you imprint him. And I see that with Kennedy, Kendall, and you got 3, so I bet you don't force it, but you probably father them different, I'm sure. Because I definitely see you're soft with all of them, but like Kendall, you're like real soft. And then like baby boy, I haven't seen a ton of it because he's still so young that it's more just you're his protector. He just lays on you.
He got me so soft.
Oh yeah.
He does whatever he wants. He's a spoiled boy.
How old is he now?
Boy. He's 2. So
what? And it's going to be a tough question, but because it's just going to be hard for you to answer. But that fatherhood has to be one of the most important things to you.
The most important.
What's that like for you? What makes it so impactful? And I'm not going to be asking it the best way, but like what what makes you so locked into it? Because there are people that aren't fathers. There's a huge percentage of people that have kids and don't father them. So what makes that so important to you? Because I bet your success looked different until you were a father. Now it's like, I want to be the best father, then everything else.
100%.
No matter what it is.
With that, I would say what makes me strive to keep going.
What makes you want to be a good example for them? Because obviously it's the thing to do. You want to be a good dad. You want to set examples. You want to have structure, love. You want them to love you back. All those things. But what changes? Because I don't have kids myself, but everyone says it's different. Because I've seen you become a better man since I've known you. And I've only known you 4 years. But every time I see you, you're better.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%.
But this goes back to the whole driving, me being the best version or the best thing that I could. That's why I feel like I always have to change. And I agree 100%. I'm not that same person you met 4 years ago. So,
100%.
And for you to state that means a lot to me. I appreciate that. But at the same time, one thing that keeps me going is seeing everyone else that don't be a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't want to be that one.
Oh, so my father bounced. Gone.
Did you have a relationship or no?
Or
you were so young?
I was so young. I'm sure we had a relationship, right? Because his mother and his sister contacted me for years after.
Okay.
So I'm sure we had some type of relationship. But at the same time, it's nothing that I remember.
Yeah, you can't. You're so little.
So with that, but knowing the absence that he was, and at 11, 12, when there was a chance to come back in, just him being absent again and present at the same time is just, that's a big deal.
The teeter-totter is probably real tough.
So, but seeing that, honestly, seeing the people in my life that just don't cut it as being the father, and they can go through, people have their own problems. So I don't pass judgment. It is what it is. But seeing them not do it makes me like want to show everybody it's not that hard. I'm nothing special. Here I am. I bust my butt every day of the week. I work 3 jobs. I work 3 jobs. I'm ripping and running. I'm doing this. But hey, I make time to pick up my kids from school. I make time to make sure they eat. I got them in whatever sports they want. I'm attending games. We're doing this. We're doing that.
I mean, I'm never able to get a hold of you between like 3 and 4.
Oh,
because that's when you're
games.
At the school or at practice or something like that. And I respect that because there's professional athletes or people that retire and then you hear them on interviews and they're like, my favorite thing is going to pick up my kids. But that's something you've done that you didn't have to tell me you do all the time.
Right.
Like that's just something you do.
It's
like the lunch with my wife. Like it just means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And it's little, but I bet. And it's sad because it goes back to, I wish I had someone to have lunch with me every day when I was growing up, or I wish someone would have picked me up from school. So it goes to those moments because we came from, mostly single parent households where they're working 3 or 4 jobs.
Right.
But then they still want to have a life. I don't know. I remember my dad, when I'd go see him on the weekends, sometimes he'd be like real tired. And I'd be like, man, damn. Like we got to do something.
That's the only time we've seen each other.
And then I started becoming a man and I'm like, yeah, I'm tired too. That's something else that, not to be on the sad side of it, like, oh, being a man is so hard. Not that, but you put a lot of pressure on yourself because you feel, to me, I'm going to have to just speak from my perspective, but no one's saving me.
True.
Like, not saying everyone will save someone else. Not saying someone will save Morgan or save your kids or save the people we know. But I know no one's saving me. That's an absolute. Like, I have people that care about me, and of course, I'm not going to go homeless. But when I became a man, which even though I'm 31, I feel like was only 4 or 5 years ago. For me, it was when I quit my job, my first job of ever making 6 figures, quit that job, bought a house, had to buy a car, and just started wholesaling, hoping it would work. But once that started going, that's when it just added more pressure, but in a good way. But I don't know. Sometimes, and I think that's why I ask you so many questions as far as what's success look like? How do you check in with yourself? What keeps you going? Because those are questions I ask myself, because sometimes there'll be a moment of like weakness where you're like, I'm really struggling.
Oh.
Like, this is so hard. I don't even want to do this.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel like a punk ass when I say that, where I'm like, I just don't want to do it, or I just want to quit, or, but it just comes back to realizing you're the protector. And I guess I didn't know how much that meant. And as I've grown up, it's been nice to see other good men.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have friends that are bad men. Like, I don't have deadbeat father friends. I don't have people that don't care about themselves as friends. Like, all my friends are selective in a positive way.
As it should be.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And when I just didn't realize, going back to the relationships, how important it was and how thankful I am for those. Because whether it's seeing a memory on my Snapchat of me and you, or not seeing you for months and then seeing you, it just means a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it means so much. And that's why I lean on the emotional side. Because growing up, I would be emotional, but I'd hide it. And I'm just huge on giving flowers now. That's why I wanted to talk with you, because we've had these talks off air a million times.
I was going to say, I was reading through our text thread, figuring out the code to get in here on the way here. And I was legit reading our message. I was like, Zach and I talked about so much on here. And I'm going back thinking one of your questions was like, bro, how's everything going this year? And you're one of the only people that ask me about that stuff. You're like, yo, how's your year going? Not just like, how are you doing? But like, you're legit trying to find out what I'm doing, what I'm invested in, what's going on, and you legit care. So that's why our relationship ain't never going to change.
It's funny. Yeah, no, 100%.
No matter what.
It's cool. It's funny because I was talking about that guy Hick and you and Phil and my friends growing up. Like, there's not a lot of, hey, what are you doing? It's like, hey, bro, just checking in, wanted to send you this energy. Or, hey, did you get that fixed that you needed help with? It's all like, they're not rhetorical questions, but they're like just legit messages. Like, you're just sending messages and then keep it pushing. And it, like, something that stood out to me about you is, well, and about myself, is when my dad gave us that boat. And I told you, I don't really like fishing that much. I really don't. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
Like, I think I like to hunt more. And if I was hiking and had to fish to eat, like, I would love to do it.
Right.
But I just don't always think to go. But you wanted to go, so we went. And I had a pole and everything. I didn't even cast it. I just wanted to sit there and drive to where you wanted to fish at. And we're just friends. But it meant the world to me. I was just sitting there like, you want me to go left? Okay.
And it meant the world to me. I was like, he's not even fishing. He could care less. He just
I could care less. I just was sipping my beer, watching you fish. And you would have thought I was a dad.
Bro,
because I was sitting there like, I'm so proud of him catching fish. Like, those moments mean so much to me. It's crazy. And that's one that always sticks with me, because you can have a lot of group activity, but it's like the one-on-one stuff that sticks out the longest. Like, the reason I'm close with Sonny is because randomly we hunted. Like, one of them was with you and it was really great, but there's been 2 or 3 that were just me and him where I'm like, okay, now I'm locked in with him. Or Josh, when we would get some one-on-one time, I'm like, well, now we're locked in because we spent that one-on-one time. And I always pride myself on being myself. Even if I don't fool with you. Like, I'll tell you, like, straight up that, you know, this is how far our relationship goes. And that's cool. But then there's someone like you that I'm, like, giving anything I got. And it's not like me and you needed a lot of, like, help as far as, like, really even physical stuff. It was always more mental. Like, I'll give you anything you need that I can give.
Right.
And growing up, when I was reserved, like in high school, I just kept my own friends. And I didn't really want to talk. People would just call me an asshole in high school because I wouldn't talk to everybody. But then I meet these people as adults that changed my life. Like, you really changed my life in multiple ways. Not only giving me confidence as a man to protect myself, which is crazy to tell you. I've never even told you that.
I appreciate it.
Like, well, I'm not a bitch, so I figured I would survive.
Yeah.
If it came to
If it
shove,
came down to it.
I got beat up enough by my sister that I think I could survive. But to really put in that type of work, it's crazy. Like, the first day I ever went to your garage, you made me spar. I was getting tuned up by Louis.
Who is, 345 pounds, 360?
Yeah, but moves like a cat.
He moves like a cat and will head kick you. So, yeah.
And he did that day.
Yeah.
But I just kept going. Luckily, the thing you taught me early was defense. So I haven't even got a bloody nose from sparring.
Boom.
I got it from wrestling once. But on the kickboxing, I've been lucky not to get a bloody nose. I've got bloody stuff, but not bloody nose. But there's a couple things, like, that would probably be something I would have to say, because sometimes you want to find one thing to kind of describe something. And that's something you gifted me. Like, I know sometimes I'm too humble, people say. And a client of mine, Beverly, she's an older woman. Her husband died in December, and she called me and needed me to sell her house and get her into a new one in January. And we did. She gave me all this old artwork from England, from her parents. Like, she's a sweetheart. But I was shy to take the gifts and shy to take the compliments. And she said, stern, like a grandma. She was like, you need to stop blocking your blessings and, like, not accepting what I'm giving you. Like, I don't have to give you shit.
100%.
I'm giving this to you because I care about you and you're a good person. So sometimes I'm too humble, but it helps me relay messages to someone like yourself. Like, I've never told you that, but then when I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm like, yeah, I guess if I have to take it to one thing, it was Shaq took the time and I took the time to teach me something that's going to protect me for my whole life. And that's insane to meet someone and be close to them that fast. I mean, it's so quick.
Yeah.
And one thing, bro.
You're good.
And this is because I'm always on the comedic side. I remember they were watching the fights at your house. And I didn't know who was all there. So I show up and I just kick the door open, like, what's up? And then everyone's there. And I'm like, oh, let me have manners. I thought it was just Shaq here.
Yeah.
But it's everyone. So let me have manners and not act like I don't have any sense. But if it was just Shaq, I would be kicking my shoes off. But it was just, it's funny to me. And I always relay it to that time. And I was just talking to Sonny about this when we had already been hanging out, but we went to Tez's to play dominoes. And my love language is talking shit.
Yeah.
And your friends, Sonny and Louie, and yeah, that was the only ones there. They were like, why is he talking so much shit to Shaq? Like, that seems aggressive. But my best friend, Sydney, we would meet when he was away at college, and his dorm mates would be like, y'all like each other? Because, like, that's our love language. I love you so much that I have to talk some shit to you because
I really respect you so much.
Or I would just be complimenting you left and right. It'd probably be even weirder.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just really appreciate you. And I know that you have a lot to offer, whether it's physically or emotionally or on the real estate side, the gym side, the fatherhood side. But you just care.
Yeah.
And that's something about you that's always stood out to me. You just care. Like, you're a genuine nice person. You're not spiteful. You're not mean. You're like genuinely a nice guy that's been through a lot, but never let it mold him negatively. And that's why I wanted to get you on here because, like I said at the beginning, you and I are those type of people that you're not going to get the best version of us unless we open up.
Right.
Like, we can always be respectful and friendly. Like, we're very cordial. But to get, like, in the weeds with it, it just takes some time.
It really does.
So it's impressive to build that with someone, but also to see you build it with, like, other folks. And people look up to you so much.
Now to go back real fast. I believe, to touch bases on you, I believe you meet people for a reason.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Now, you meet everybody that you come in contact with.
Yeah.
You meet them for a purpose, for something, but it's legit. It can be just to say you met them and later on be like, yeah, I've been introduced to him before, and then boom, that's all.
Yeah.
Or it's generally people like you. Like when you first came to the gym and you guys were first, you didn't come out and just was like, oh, hey, my name is Zach, and you introduced yourself, but you wasn't like where you are now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You were still reserved at the gym.
Yep.
Still this, still that. It takes whatever you seen in me and whatever I seen in you to explore.
Yeah.
Opening up that venture. And I believe that either you see that in somebody or you don't. Mm-hmm. And so there's been plenty of people, like you said, at the gym that I see that in, and we have great relationships. There's people at the gym that I don't see that in, but yet we still have great relationships because you're the purpose for the gym. Mm-hmm. Whatever I'm doing at the gym is for you. Whatever you're doing, when you're here, it's for me. It's for me to get better. It's for you to get better. Whatever it is.
It's mutual respect.
It's mutual respect. But there's people that you like, something clicked. Like when I seen you, when we met, something clicked. I was like, nah, that's Zach. Just like go back to that situation, that was probably your first time of talking shit and being up like so relaxed with it that it made everybody else feel comfortable. Yeah. But even like I was like, yeah, it's my first time hearing it, but it didn't make me feel. I was like, nah, bro, that's Zach. Chill out. He's cool. You know what I mean? It just we had hit that where we clicked before. So
I remember walking into the gym, and I walked right back out because G gave me this look, and I was like, I'm here to try a class. And he said, it's only for my fighters. And I remember you looking at me, but you didn't know me. You just looked at me because you knew I was Tez's friend, but you don't know me. And I left. And then Tez was like, hey, come back. But that's a keep going moment because I could have been like, nah, screw that.
Right.
I already embarrassed myself coming in and getting told to leave. Mm-hmm. But I come back and I did a full class and I did your striking class. And then it was just over from there. But you always showed that grace. Like where you're like, oh, it's your first time, do this. Right. It's your first time, do this. To where it could be the other way. If you come in, because there's people that come in on the aggressive side. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, you could have came in.
And they don't last.
Exactly.
None of them last. And they think they're getting picked on at the gym. But no, you got to earn. Like, I talked shit from the beginning, but I showed respect from the beginning. Like, what? I got to talk shit. That's all I got.
That's all I got.
But I also know how to sit crisscross and listen to the coach and stretch and not talk while he's talking and do the warm-ups and ask you what to do next and tie your belt right and all that stuff. Like, that treating people how you want to be treated goes longer than you think, because this was meant to happen. We were meant to meet, but a couple decisions and it could have been a different relationship.
That is so true.
It's just so interesting to me.
Yep. And I mean, like you said, I've known you through Tez, but our relationship is stronger now than I've known Tez longer. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's just you bond with that person and you bond with them for something. You bond with them, and that's the way it is. And I believe that we're meant to. I don't want to sound like this, but it's like spiritually we bind it. You know what I mean? That sounds a little weird, but that's how.
Well, that's probably how we first connected. Yeah.
I'm a spiritual person anyway, so spiritually we bind it, and then later us, how we act and everything else, bind it with it, and we're like, oh yeah.
Well, it's genuine love, because I remember when I was gone from the gym because I was traveling and then I was hurt, so it was like 4 months. I showed up and you were the first person to say something. Not that that's a surprise, but it's just right on time.
Gotta be.
Like, it's like, yeah, duh. Like, how have Zach and Rachel only been here 3 months, but they're like kicking it with the fighters? It's like, well, because we respect them, but we also don't fake respect them. You know, where it's like, oh no, like, that's Shakir. And then big up you or like give you fake compliments to be cool. Like, no, it's like, I genuinely am friends with them. And then I understand the levels. Like, I understand the different hats he's wearing. Or it comes down to what you talked about with heart, because I didn't start winning battles till like now. I mean, and I'm over 3 years in.
But you're still battling.
Yeah, still battling.
That's the crazy thing.
Still battling, because
and you touched on it earlier, stating you was like, I know a lot of people that said they were going to get into real estate and they never did
and fall off.
Man, I've been in it with people that have been in real estate or is getting into real estate and then just like, no, it's not even work out. It's not.
And it's 3 months in,
and
they may have already got paid,
and they would have had, and them being that person, being of the Hispanics, this, or being Indian, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get that type of clientele that only wants to work with you. You know what I mean? Not so much,
natives,
colors,
but yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's so crazy. So
well, that's something that I'll end on, because relationships has been huge in our conversation. That's what's made us successful in real estate and in other things. But real estate wise, that's what's made us successful, because we know how to bond with a wide range of people. And that comes from the gym. That comes from whatever. But I want to open up the floor to you to say any last thoughts you have.
Okay.
I feel like we could go for 5 hours. So I want to leave it up to you to say what you want to say, and then I'll close it out.
All right. First of all, thank you for having me here.
Of course.
I really do appreciate sharing a little bit of my story. And
we could have dug even deeper in so much stuff, but I thought for people to see the natural side of us, this is the best way.
100%. And if you go into different things, it would be hours and days. So it's not even that important. But, no, like I said, I thank you. And I mean, I really do appreciate everything that you've done and everything that you continually do in my life. Also, you've been a role model. You sat here and said that I've been a role model and this and that. I appreciate that so much. But you have also been that figure to me.
Yeah.
Seeing you get over hurdles, start a new brokerage and do this and do that and do this and continue to grow. Man, tip my hat off to you 100 times, give you all the flowers, bro. But, no, I just really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you for having me. And one thing that I would like for anybody to take out of this is, like you said, I mean, keep going. That's what defines your success, is how much are you willing to keep going.
Well, we'll get you back on here again. And I'll catch you and choke you at the gym.
Yeah.
We out.